What's going on, guys? So in this video I'll be showing you how you can increase your download and upload speeds for your Xbox Series X and your Xbox Series S. So as you probably know, the Xbox Series X and the Xbox Series S are Microsoft's latest generation of consoles, and as with most generations of consoles, the games get bigger and bigger as time goes on. As you can see on my screen right now, I have my Xbox pulled up and I just have a couple examples. So you have Call of Duty Modern Warfare Warzone, which is known for having huge updates, and just the base game is 80 gigs. And a lot of times updates are like 30 to 40 gigs, so those are massive updates and it takes forever to download. I also have The Witcher 3 pulled up, which is a little bit smaller, still 40 gigs. And if you don't have fast internet, then 40 gigs takes forever to download. I mean, that could take days for certain people to download if you're in an area with poor internet connection. And so as I said, I'm going to help you increase your download and upload speeds in this video. I basically have 6 different tips and tricks to help you out and get better download speeds, faster upload speeds, so you can play more online games with less lag, you can download games faster, all that good stuff. So tip number 1, this one may seem obvious to you. So this first tip may seem kind of obvious, but go ahead and make sure you have the fastest internet you can possibly get in your area. Now obviously this will depend on where you live. It depends on what country you live in, what state you live in, that sort of thing. And internet providers are upgrading their services all the time. Just like 5 years ago, I had probably 15 megabits download speeds and 3 up. And then a couple years later, I upgraded to 250 megabits down and like 25 up. And now, as of like a year ago, I'm on Google Fiber, which has 1,000 megabits per second download speeds and 1,000 megabits per second upload speeds, which is crazy fast. So I recommend looking into internet providers in your area, maybe once a month, just to see if there's any upgrades available. So that's my tip number 1. Tip number 2, make sure you use an Ethernet cable where possible instead of wireless. So let me kind of just show you the difference. So if you go to Settings, go over to General, Network Settings. This is going to show you, what you're connected to right now and give you some details about your network. So right now, I'm connected to my Wi-Fi network, and let me just show you a network speed and statistics test. And basically what we're doing here is it'll give you your upload speeds, download speeds, that sort of thing. And it'll take, 20 seconds for it to run. But basically what I'm getting out here is if you're close to your router, definitely use an Ethernet cable and plug in from your router to your Xbox. Or even if you have a network set up in your house that you can, basically run a cable all the way from your router to your Xbox. As you can see here, my download speeds over Wi-Fi are only 142, which I say only, to some people that might be pretty fast. But considering I have 1,000 megabits available, only 142 is only like 10% of my speed, so that's pretty slow. Now let me go ahead and plug in my Ethernet cable and show you the speeds. Alright, so I just plugged in my Ethernet cable, and as you can see on the right side of the screen, it now says wired. And so I'll go ahead and run the network speed test again. And I imagine it'll be at least twice as fast, if not even more. But basically, if you have a hardwired connection, you're not going to have as much interference as a Wi-Fi network has, and therefore you'll have faster speeds. And I know it's not always possible to have an Ethernet cable to your console, so if you can at least just get your console as close to the router as possible, that's ideal. And as you can see, I have 711 megabits per second download speeds now versus the 142 I had over Wi-Fi. So that's a significant increase. So that's my number 2 tip. Definitely use an Ethernet cable if you can. So my number 3 tip is to use 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi whenever you can instead of 2.4 gigahertz. Now, if you don't know the difference between 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi and 5, basically the 2.4 is a lower frequency and it travels further. So if your Xbox is across the house from your router, 2.4 will probably work better because it's further away. Now, if you're in range of 5 gigahertz, definitely use it because it'll definitely be faster. And let me just go ahead and show you a comparison speed of my 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi versus my 2.4. So I have my 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi shown on the screen right now. It's my dog craps in your yard. So let's go ahead and run a network speed test and see what it is. Alright, so we finished the speed test on the 5 gig Wi-Fi, and it's 131 download speeds, which is actually not as fast as I expected, but it is going to be faster than 2.4. So let me go ahead and connect to my 2.4 now, and I'll show you the difference. So my 2.4 is free Wi-Fi, not a virus. Alright, so I'm connected to my 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi now. Let's go ahead and run a speed test on this and see what it is. Alright guys, so we just finished the network speeds on my 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi. And there's a couple things you'll notice right off the bat. So first of all, the wireless strength is 100%, whereas on the 5 gigahertz it was like 68% maybe. So you can definitely see that 2.4 travels further. And then our download speeds are slower. So we're about 80 megabits per second, whereas we were at like 110, 120 on our 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi. So there's your difference between 5 gig Wi-Fi and 2.4. So as I said, I definitely recommend going with 5 gig when you can. So this next tip is not directly going to help your actual speeds, but it'll help you download things faster. So what I would recommend doing is, let me show that again. So you go to System, go to Updates. I recommend clicking on Keep My Games and Apps Up to Date, and also Keep My Console Up to Date. And so basically what this does is whenever your console is off, it'll still be searching for these updates, and it'll go ahead and apply these updates while you're not actually playing. So basically, let's say you go to school in the morning and there's a COD update at 12 p.m. that releases. You get home at 4 p.m. and by the time you're home, hopefully your COD update is finished and you don't have to actually log onto your console and initiate the update and that sort of thing. So my number 5 tip is a little weird, something you might not notice, but when you're playing games in your Xbox, it actually makes your download speed slower. So let me just demonstrate. So I have Cyberpunk 2077. This game just came out recently, and let me boot it up real quick. And as you can see, we're on the screen right now. Let me go back to home, go to My Games and Apps, and I have a couple games in my queue. So let's go ahead and start downloading Modern Warfare, and we'll see what that does. So it'll take a couple seconds for it to boot up and actually start downloading. But on the right hand side, it'll show you what your network speeds are. So right now you can see it's downloading at about a rate of 20 megabits per second. That'll vary. And again, I'm on my 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi, so it's a lot slower than 5 gigahertz or Ethernet. But we have our baseline now. So it's 20 gigs while a game is running in the background. Now if we go ahead and quit out of this game, so basically we don't have a game running in the background now. Let's go ahead and check our queue. And boom, there you go. Your download speeds have immediately doubled. Tripled now, and yeah, they just keep going up. So whenever you're playing games in the background, I don't know exactly why this is, but when you're playing games in the background, your download speeds are much slower. So if you can, make sure to download games when you're not playing other games. It'll just help your speeds a lot. As you can see, it's 4 times faster now. So my 6th and final tip I want to show you is how to change your DNS server. So you probably have no idea what that means, and you don't really need to know what that means. You just need to know how to do it. And I'm going to show you how to do it. And I'll be upfront about this. This is not going to help everybody out. It might help you. It might not help you. It might make your speeds worse. It might make your speeds better. So I'm going to show you how to do it. And yeah, so as I showed you, you go to Settings, go to General, Network Settings, and then you're going to scroll all the way down to Advanced Settings, and then scroll down to DNS Settings. And by default, it says Automatic. And so that's the easiest way to do it. That's the default. So if anything messes up, go back to here, or go back to DNS settings, click on automatic, and you'll be good to go. But I'm going to show you how to do it manually and potentially increase your speeds. So I'll list a website down in the description that shows you a few different DNS servers you can try. But basically, I'm going to try 2 different free DNS servers on this video. So the first one is called OpenDNS, and basically what you're going to do is type in your primary DNS and then your secondary DNS. So let me go ahead and type in my primary, which is 208.67.222.222. Go ahead and click next, and then you type in your secondary, which is 208.67.220, and then 220. Click enter, and now you're good to go. You can go ahead and back out, and we can run another test network speed and statistics right here, and we'll see what speeds it shows us. Alright, so we finished our network speed, and as you can see, our download speeds are actually a little bit faster. I think our upload speeds are a little bit slower, but we're like 5 to 6 megabits per second faster, so it's not a big deal on this specific network. But let's try another DNS server. So go back down to Advanced Settings, go to DNS Settings, click on Manual again, and this time we're going to try the Google Public DNS. So your main DNS is 8.8.8.8, click enter, and your secondary is 8.8.4.4, click enter, and now we'll go back and try another network speed and statistics test. Alright guys, so we finished our test, and as you can see, it's about the same as the original, so it really didn't make much of a difference, except the upload speeds are much faster now. When we tried the OpenHome DNS server, our upload speeds were like 12, and now on the Google, it's 48, so that's a pretty big difference. I know upload is not as big of a deal to people most of the time, but that's just something to take a note of. And again, this is something that's going to depend on your network, and if anything messes up, always go back to automatic and just roll with that. But you can definitely try these manual settings, and they might help you download some games faster, that sort of thing. I know I've definitely used this in the past when I had slower internet, and this kind of boosted my speeds a little bit, but definitely try it out if you can. So thanks for watching, guys. Hope this video helped you out. I think my most important tip was tip number 2, to use an Ethernet cable instead of Wi-Fi. I mean, as you saw, I went from like 142 megabits per second to 800, I think. I mean, that's basically quadrupling my speeds, even more than quadrupling. So definitely use an Ethernet cable whenever you can, and definitely follow the rest of the tips I gave you as well. And again, thanks for watching, guys. Hope this helped you out. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you want to see more content like this in the future, and I hope you guys have a great day.